In this video, we're going to take a look at the Management API of Cloud Access Manager 8.1. Essentially, this is a web service-based API using REST services. To demonstrate this, we're going to be running a demo application that you can actually get from us, and you can open this up and you can see the code that we've written to leverage these services. Let's take a quick look at that application and then find out how we set up that application to be used with Cloud Access Manager. So here basically I have the application open in Visual Studio, and again I'm choosing this to basically show this is an API. We're showing how we can make a custom application to call the Cloud Access Manager APIs, and it's a little bit more informative than just saying take a look at this demo, it's doing something magical in the background. There's no magic involved here. All the code that we have that runs this sample is something that you can download and play with yourself. So let's run the application. We'll minimize this. Now the first thing you're going to see is it has a client ID and a client secret. Well, that's nothing that you get automatically when you simply launch this application. You actually have to go get those values out of Cloud Access Manager. So let's pause before we go any further and go over to Cloud Access Manager and take a look at where those values come from. So we're going to log into Cloud Access Manager, take a look at the administration console, and make our way over to Settings, and then Manage API Clients. Here I've already set up an application. Let's click on that. And you can see that when I created this application, it gave me a client ID and a shared secret. Take a look at also how I have the ability to say which one of the REST interfaces I have access to. So at this point you may be asking yourself, well, how do I know how to call those interfaces? Where are they? How do I get to them? All that information is available to you with some online documentation. Let's take a look at that real quick. So here I've got the documentation up. We can see the introduction page just basically walks you through how to call the API, how to format your JSON parameters, etc., how we call out our scopes, basically all the information you need to get started. If you want to talk about the individual classes, you simply find that here. Here's the class list, and the one we're going to demo today is basically this credential one here. So again, you can click on that and you can take a look at the parameters that are contained within, the definition for what those parameters are and how to use them, etc. Again, essentially all the documentation you need to create your own custom project is here. Well, let's go over to the demo and execute it and then come back and check the results. So we're going to go back over to the demo, simply click on Set Credentials for User. I'm going to search for my user account. First thing we're going to see is that I actually have a number of different user accounts in different directories, right? So how do I know which is which? Well, I want to set the credentials for the one that comes from the Active Directory connection, not the one that comes from SQL, right? So I'm going to say Active Directory. Which application do I want to set them for? We'll say this one right here, Form Fill. And let's set the username to green. And just put in a password and say update the credential. Okay? Now we're going to go back over to Cloud Access Manager, log in as that user. Let's just go over here and say portal. All right, here we are logging in. I'm going to go access that application, and we expect to see green as the user ID. So again, that was automatically placed inside the password wallet. If we come back and look at the password wallet, we're going to see for the form fill application, there's green right there. Let's kill this and set it one more time to blue. And we'll say upload. There we go. Pretty quick. Come back over here. We don't need this guy anymore. Run this one more time. All right, we're logging in, and what should we see? We should see blue, right? So think about the scenarios here. One scenario may be that we want to set that password wallet in advance for a user because we don't want them to have to go and set it first. So if you just so happen to know what the credentials are for that user and you want to pre-populate that wallet, that's going to work for you. What about synchronization, right? If you have Password Manager, for example, and someone goes in and says, I want to synchronize my passwords, we can now not only synchronize it in AD and a SQL database, we could actually target this and synchronize the passwords with the wallet as well. Finally, a use case that a lot of customers ask for is, I don't want my users to actually know what the parameters are, right? So I want to populate it externally, and then when my user logs into Cloud Access Manager and they click an application, I log in for them and they don't even really know what the credentials were. Right, so basically you can start to see how we could use this API and how it could benefit you. So remember, this demo is available to you. You can download it, take a look at the source code if you want to see an example, or start from scratch, calling our management API, etc. It's a pretty simple process, but has a lot of powerful use cases. And that concludes the Management API demo for Cloud Access Manager 8.1.